All right, welcome to the Investor's Guide of Memphis Real Estate. I'm your host, Dean Harris. As always, I'm with Douglas Skipworth. How are you, man?
Hey, man, doing great.
We are bringing you this podcast to give you the knowledge you need to be a successful investor, boots on the ground knowledge, all the things that you would need here. Please come subscribe and like our YouTube channel, Facebook page. You can listen on Spotify, wherever you catch your podcast at. We'll be on there. Show sponsors are listed on the front of the screen here. Could not be doing this podcast and what we bring you without those guys. So please like their pages. Go and make contact with them. They're a big asset to us.
Use them.
Yeah, big time. Zoom calls. I've stopped the Zoom call, but if you guys are interested in the Zoom call, still let me know. Shoot me a quick email and let me know that's something you'll be interested in tuning into, and I'll keep that going. I represent buyers and sellers every day as an agent here in Memphis. If you're buying anything, selling anything investment-wise, I'll be happy to help you. Dean@CrestCore.com. How's it going?
Good, man. You represent sellers?
I do. I represent buyers and sellers. Did I not say buyers and sellers?
No, you did. I thought that would kick you off for the deal of the day.
Deal of the week. So we've got a deal of the week that's coming today. I'm going to give you this one real quick. We're trying to bring one every week to you. So here's a great one. Up in Raleigh, 4232 Bacon Street, 38128. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,768 square feet, a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. $99,000 is the listing price. ARV for 1,700 square foot on Bacon near Battlefield and all that's going to be about 170, 175. That's fairly conservative. There's a $200K comp up there that I didn't even choose to use. So 175 to 180. Rehab budget for 35, possibly 40. This is a 100% burr all day long. 4232 Bacon Street in Raleigh, near the Nike plant, Amazon plant up there near New Island. Literally, it's right near that intersection. So great property up there. I'm buying in Raleigh right now. So everybody, if you have questions, this is, obviously one I'm going to suggest you move on, Dean@CrestCore.com. All right, deal of the week. Thanks for bringing that to us, Dean. I really appreciate that, right?
Yes.
All right, look, so today's show, we're going to talk about buying real estate for need versus buying for opportunity.
Okay. Love it.
There's a couple of ways that you can buy, right? And need and opportunity are the most popular ones. I guess institutional might buy for cause, but in this situation, we're buying for need or opportunity.
Okay.
I often get the calls from investors. I wouldn't say often, but I'll occasionally get the guy that calls and says, "Hey, my wife is going to retire, or my wife just got laid off. We would like to replace her income or replace his income or whatever it may be." And, they give me a figure of a monthly note or a monthly number that they're trying to replace. And then we kind of back it back down. How many houses do you need to get? Or, are you paying cash or however we're going to structure it? And my first thought is like buying out of need like that can be dangerous. It also, so there's two sides of this coin. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. That can be very dangerous, but at the same time, you've got a plan and a mission. So if you heard me talk about in this podcast a few weeks ago, you asked me the question like, "What's your ideal client?"
Right.
Well, the one that comes in with a plan is the ideal client. So I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth here. I just want to make sure that when you're running through that plan that you have a tour guide. And you've got some way to go through that without trying to make as many mistakes. So I have several guys that have come to me, "Hey, I'm doing this," and they'll just spread themselves so thin. They'll talk to any property source, wholesaler, anybody that they can land from because they're on a mission.
Okay.
And I don't mind the mission, so don't get this confused. The idea, the mission, and the plan is one thing that you want to have. I just think you have to be very careful as you navigate through that.
Or And maybe I've always thought it was like a vision, a goal with a date, and then you develop a plan.
That's right.
And then you execute that plan. And I think what you're saying is the vision and the goal is great. Yes. And if you put a date on that, even better.
Way better.
So now you've got the clear direction.
Yeah.
Coming up with a plan and sticking to the plan is super important. And that's where I think you see people fail.
Yes.
They need some assistance.
Yep.
Most people need assistance, accountability, coaches, trainers, in life, right?
Yeah.
Teachers, guides.
Yes. You can't come in and execute and run a plan that I think you need to have somebody, you need to have an assistant, you need to have a guide, you're not going to go take off in the mountains you've never been there without somebody. So it's like, although you know you want to climb the mountain.
Right.
So it's like, we know we want to buy real estate in Memphis. Great, you have a goal and there's something specific that you want to do. Please don't come in here and just tear off and start buying stuff or buying different products or buying.
You know
what I mean? Because that's happened.
That has totally happened.
I've talked to guys before. It's like, hey, I haven't bought anything yet. They'll come back. I've got 6 now. I was like, okay, where are they at? Okay, well, let's just keep moving. It's like,
and then you help them out.
Yeah, and then we help them and continue. That's right. And we've sold some and moved around. So I think, having that mindset, it's going to be a grind when you come in. That's one of my notes here is like, I want to make sure that I hit some of these notes.
If you're buying for need.
If you're buying for need, it's going to be a grind because you've got to be accurate.
Yeah.
And you're on a self-inflicted timeline, right? Like you're on your own pace, but you created that. So it can be a grind. I just want to make sure that we don't make a ton of mistakes.
There's a lot of pressure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, it can be highly motivating, but it's also a lot of pressure to execute.
Yes, especially if you set your own timeline.
Yes.
It's like all of these are good things. You just have to make sure you're running through them the right way. So that's kind of what I'm saying in my message about buying, for need, or to, hedge funds get into the same thing. When they buy, they have to cover a percentage point, right?
Or they have to put this specific amount of money to work at a certain time.
And if they don't, they have to guarantee money.
It's kind of like the clock's ticking. It's like a shot clock. Some people have a shot clock, which can be good because it keeps you moving and passing the ball and working things around. It can also but
what are we going through right now? I'm listing and selling a bunch of houses from a hedge fund that bought way too many, too fast, without a clear and direct plan, or they wouldn't be selling these off.
Yeah.
So let's don't make that mistake as an individual investor. Come here buying recklessly because we're on a timeline to replace my wife's or whoever's income or a goal that you've set that really is just your own goal.
Arbitrary,
just means nothing.
Yeah.
And we all set goals. I'm not at the goal that I wanted to be at.
Right, that's right.
Like I wanted to own more houses than I do right now. But if I didn't set that goal, I wouldn't have the ones.
There's definitely the pro on this, the positive side. Like to me, I always say that like there's no incentive, like no alternative.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
When you must, you can. So there's a lot of the positivity and motivation in this, but you just need some direction, or I guess some guidance, some objectivity maybe to prevent you from just getting too close to the fire or too deep in it. Because
I don't want to direct them. You know what I mean? Like if you want to have this goal and you have it in 12 months, all I want to do is come by you and be like, don't do that. Yes, let's do that.
Yes.
Don't do that. Yes, let's do that.
Correct.
I'll go if you need 20 homes in 6 months, we have them.
Yeah.
Right.
You can
That's
do
fine.
it. You've done it.
I've done it several times.
Do it again.
That is okay, but just as long as you've got that tour guide. Some people might ask, what are some examples of some like need buying?
Okay.
What would you do with that? Retirement.
Yes.
My wife's income, we mentioned. Tax benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got one buyer right now has no interest in buying. He just doesn't have any interest in real estate whatsoever, but he's buying for the tax ramifications for it. Yeah. It helps him in his earnings or his regular income. There's some other ways to offset it. So he isn't as concerned with his return. He just wants to own the property. So there's that. So that's my last note was strict buy pattern, which is what we've been talking about. Stay with your plan and what you're doing.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for. Again, having a vision of where you're going and making it specific with a goal and a date.
Yeah.
Like that's good. That's what we talked about a few weeks ago. Like, hey, when your perfect clients or the most successful clients come, that's the kind of stuff they have.
Yes.
Vision, goals, and dates. And then they need to develop that plan and stick to that plan. Because when you deviate from that plan, it's when you get lost in the woods if you're talking about it. If you're chasing the squirrel or the shiny object, all of a sudden I did that. That's exactly what happened to me. I've said this before. Is like I started with a clear plan of where to buy and was executing that plan very successfully. Yep. And then I got lazy and mentally lazy and said, and let my guard down and said, I can buy over here because to buy here, I can buy here as well. And then all of a sudden I was over here and I was like, well, since I'm already over here and it was not part of the plan and it took years. Thank you, Dean, for helping me get out of that situation.
I tell you though, that's a constant reminder of what you shouldn't do.
Yes.
I mean, that's a very key point in some of the things that we give here, and we talk about the information that we give out here is that.
Yes.
From an experienced investor, you are still susceptible to make mistakes.
Yes.
Even if you own 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 homes, the next one needs to be the same buy, right? And I think that's a valuable lesson even for me as I'm going through this right now. I'm adding some properties right now, and I think that's an important thing to remember. None of the ones that I'm adding are off of anything, but as you go through this, you can what's the word? It's not a lazy thought that you would take a property that you shouldn't, but what is it? What do you become? You feel like your business can withstand any kind of punishment.
Yeah. And I mean, you think I thought a little bit about, I was invincible, thought I was a little pride, oh man, I can do this. Yeah. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Yeah.
And distinguishing, I think we're going to get there in just a second, because you had said this is need versus opportunity.
Yeah.
It was different between an opportunistic buyer, where you're just looking for opportunities and taking advantage of opportunities that give you. This was not, I was not doing that. I have done that and will continue to do that, and have been trying to do that this week with a couple of properties.
Yes.
But to be opportunistic when it fits in, but that was different. This was trying to think, hey, this is my business and I'm going to grow my core. My core business is going to grow. It was a bad move.
Last thing I'll add on buying for need would be make sure you have an exit strategy, because remember, this happens quick.
Yeah. And
just as quickly as you're making these decisions and you're trying to replace some income or whatever, you might have to get out of it.
Yeah, so life happens.
If you're buying, we'll talk about this in buying for opportunity or pleasure or whatever. It's a little bit different. But in this situation, if you're buying for need, it's a business. And if the business isn't making any money or it's not the right one or what have you, it's like you've got to be able to move it and get rid of it. So just create that exit strategy. Criteria is a lot tighter. It has a specific purpose. So you need to make sure that you stay on your numbers, just like most investors do now. Most investors buy for need. Most.
Yeah, for sure.
They need to do this for some reason.
Yeah.
Taxes, money, income, whatever, passive, whatever
they have a goal. They have a vision and a goal.
Yeah.
So it's like that, and this is in real estate, buy and hold fits that. We've talked about it before. It's like I had a vision, still have a vision. Real estate, residential real estate, long-term rental, buy and hold fit into my vision.
Yes.
And
yes,
it was that foundation, the fortress from which you operate. And I think that's what you're saying. When you're building a fortress or a foundation, it looks a lot different.
Yeah. And I'm just way behind. I'm just a little behind kind of where you've been at and where you're building that foundation to go do other things. I'm practicing what I'm preaching to everyone, by the way.
Same, because you're always wanting to refortify and, update and keep your fortress.
And it'll allow you to do other things.
To speed,
that's the
up
thing.
To date.
Yeah. I just, buying out of need is man, we could sit here and talk about this all day.
It's important.
There's so many different ways and avenues of buying out of need. So the opposite or the counterpart to that is buying out of opportunity or pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And opportunity buying, I'll stay off pleasure, but opportunity buying to me means something completely different. And that's kind of what I think you're mentioning, you're shifting into or have shifted into. What I'm trying to get into is building the foundation of your business, which is a large portfolio of buy and hold rentals that will allow you to go do some other things, obtain a different kind of property or what have you. In my notes here, I've got, everyone makes a better decision from a place of leverage or ease. I mean, how much more, like, this is something you and I, just from a personal thing, I've talked about, like, wonder if the next few years is just a stepping stone, right? I'm hitting a milestone in some of my investments, and like, wonder if this is just going to the next. Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking about an opportunity buy. Once you buy for need and you cover that need, they say that, I don't know this because I'm not on the back end of this, but they say it's almost like an addiction. It's like you're going to continue to buy properties. You've been buying properties for X amount of years, Dean. What makes you think you're going to stop buying properties? So now I think it shifts when I have the need taken care of. I believe we shift to an opportunity. When you think of opportunity buying, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you're right about opportunistic, and that's right. That first I want to say is like kind of that distinguishment between the pressure, the intensity of the need versus it's maybe like you are, you're a little bit looser. There's not as much pressure, and you can, I think sometimes people play better with less pressure.
Oh man.
And some people rise to that occasion under pressure, but I think most folks like having a little bit of the pressure off, a little bit of take it or leave it in a good way.
Yep.
So I think that's what you're saying. I just recently reread Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
And he's talking a lot about, he's got this cash flow game. And he talks about being on the rat race, and then you get out into the fast track. And you're in the rat race trying to cover your monthly expenses, and you need to get out of the rat race. You need to build a portfolio. You need to build your asset, in kind of the Rich Dad language. You need to build your asset column on your balance sheet such that it's producing more cash flow than your monthly expenses.
That's right.
So then you're out of the rat race, and then the opportunities abound, right? And so literally, I just read this yesterday, chapter 5, before we even talked about this, where he's like, the rich invent money. And basically it's this whole concept of, taking advantage of opportunities. He's like, you don't see opportunities with your eye, you see them with your mind.
Yeah.
So a big difference as you create these opportunities that come.
There.
Yeah.
Great.
It's really good because I think you're just looking at things differently when you're up. Again, I use the pickleball because I'm 50 and a pickleballer.
Yeah.
And so cliche. But like when you get up in a pickleball game, then you can try your new serve or you can try some spins and stuff. But man, when you're starting out and it's 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-5. No, but if you're up 9-2, 9-3, you're like, okay, I'm going to try my new serve here. And if I get it in the net, oh well. If I hit it out, oh well. We still got a big enough cushion.
That's right.
To do that. You're not doing that when it's 9-9 and the game's on the line.
No.
You're not swinging for the fence.
There's another saying, and we won't say the whole saying, but there's a saying called "I've got FU money."
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And the saying just comes from, I'm sitting down at a deal here with you, and this doesn't work for me. I don't need it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the mentality that comes from, and that's a little bit of the position you're putting yourself in when you're buying for opportunity versus buying for need. You're buying for opportunity. It's, I don't get it. Okay, I can keep moving. I'm here to tell you, you will land better deals that way. Yes. You will land way better deals that way. And how do you get to that point to where you get that comfortable sense? You go through the needs first. Unless your need is taken care of outside of real estate, if you don't have the need anymore and this is just for pleasure, then you can skip that. But if you're going from need to take care of yourself a little bit, then this is going to come right after it. I mean, get to your need and then this goes. It's like almost like this, the need is the gatekeeper for the opportunity buy. So yeah, there's not a whole lot to cover an opportunity buy. It's just, it's a multifamily property after you've bought your investments. It's a vacation home that you might Airbnb and stay in. Like, think about that scenario. Like, how about a property you're going to buy in Charleston and go visit it, but Airbnb cool. And you're going to be in a lot better position. Yeah. I'm saying that because I'm doing that.
Right. Yeah. Fix and flips.
Well, there's just one over there. Yeah. Like it's listed for $250. It's okay. Yeah. Like it's listed for $250, and he's like, "Why don't you?" It's been on the market for 3 weeks. I'm like, let's go in a lot lower.
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to get it, but the point is that I don't feel like I have to do that. It doesn't matter.
You're only going to do it if it's a good deal.
There you go. I'm only going to do it if it works.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
This doesn't work.
Yeah. And I think you said that, whether that's a multifamily that you want to do, or whether it's an Airbnb, or if you want to do fix and flip, they're different. Oh, I'm saying it's like they're different opportunity. What opportunity is for you? What it is you want to try over here.
Yes.
After you've got all your needs met and you've got the foundation from which to move from. So, I agree with you. I would say the two things I would say on that is when you're doing opportunity, I'd always learn this concept about gamblers, whether it's horse races or Vegas type of gambling, that like they do these action bets where they're just staying in there, and then they do the prime bets, where they're trying to make the big bets. So it's like you got to do something just to stay in the game.
Yeah.
So looking at opportunities, and then to your point, it's like when you see that big opportunity, you strike, you pounce on it, but you're staying in the game by looking for opportunities. And it gets to that concept, that RAS. Have you heard that? The reticulating activating system, where it's like, just did this with a family car purchase we made.
Okay.
Never see this car on the road.
Yeah.
I thought, and then we bought it, and we see it everywhere. We're like, oh my gosh, everybody's got this car, man.
Yep.
We bought the most popular car in America. Who knew?
Right.
But because now we're tuned to do that. When you're looking for opportunities, it becomes like that.
I love that.
And we always say this. It's like, and I guess this is a word of advice to people who are out there like, oh man, I want to get to the opportunity. The opportunities abound all the time.
Every day. They're not going anywhere either. They'll be ready when you're ready.
We tell that to people we work with all the time, even ourselves. Like, hey, don't worry about it today. If you miss this opportunity, there will be another opportunity tomorrow. It might look a little different, but it's going to be an opportunity.
It'll be there.
And what's awesome is I went back and literally when I was rereading Rich Dad Poor Dad, that book was written in 97. So I was reading the 25 anniversary copy, 26 years ago. And he literally has something in there that basically, probably in that same chapter I was talking about, where it's like, there are opportunities all the time. You never miss out. This deal leads to another deal. So it's like, you don't miss out on opportunities. There are always opportunities because, again, he says, you create them with your mind, not with your eyes.
Yeah. I love to hear that. I think when somebody thinks, they're about to run out of rentals to buy.
Or deals. I mean, again, just to say, and again, to say this, we've said it before, it's like you personally having the best year in your real estate business and in your investing business, your personal investing business. Who would have thought 20 years into it, in a time when when it's appears to be more difficult, that you're having the best time. So
your preparation will help you for both.
That's true.
Your preparation will help you for both. I think you need to be prepared. But yes, to me, this was a good podcast. It talks about, the different ways and mentalities are set to buy. I'm happy to talk with anybody about these kinds of mindsets. Anything else?
No, I was going to say, these are the two best ways to buy for need an opportunity. That's what I would say. And it's like, if you want to learn more about it, subscribe to the podcast. And if you're ready to go, call Dean.
Let's go. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week.